Campbell Stevenson, and I'm thrilled to be the host of this new program, Her Story. Women's history has been a big part of my life and has been inspiring me through the years. I've learned from these tremendous women who have broken through barriers and obstacles, who've come before us, and I would love to share those stories with you so we can learn together and be inspired about how we can really educate and help everybody understand that women's stories are important and that they're a part of our history, and we need to be bringing her story to history to tell our story, because we are all together in this. I'm the cultural ambassador to the Maryland Women's Heritage Center. Each episode will feature amazing Maryland women who have really led the way here in our state. These women come from different areas of life, but we feel their stories will add to our understanding. Our featured woman today is Beatrice Tignor, so don't go away. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Beatrice Tignor, welcome.
And thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and congratulations on your induction into the Maryland Women's Hall of Fame.
Thank you so much. It's quite an honor.
It really is, and well-deserved.
Well, there are a lot of people who could walk in these shoes, so
Yeah.
I thank you, though.
Would you talk a little bit about what you think in your work might have brought you to this day?
Well, you know, I started out as a teacher in Southern Maryland and fell in love with children, and that didn't last long. The love is still there, and the love continued, but then I began to move on and move from teaching to getting involved in the teaching of teachers how to teach, and then moving on to politics, and from politics to procurement and to work with local government. So I've been in all forms of government now, from local government, municipalities, state government, and haven't been in federal. So.
Okay. Still time.
No, that's okay. No, I don't think so.
Is there anything that you would think about in your early life, that anyone who inspired you, or anything in your early life that might have led you in these directions?
Well, when I was younger, my life for me in rural Southern Maryland was a matter of books. So books were very important to me. It was very important to my family. And I guess they were my first mentors. They told me that I wanted to travel. They told me that I wanted to see different things, meet different kinds of people, learn cultures, religion, the whole, all the things that make a person diverse.
It opened all your horizons.
All my doors opened by books, and there was a great professor at the university where I attended that worked with me a lot, and she's an author. She's deceased now. She was an author, she was a professor, an educator, and gave me a lot of good tidbits to always believe in yourself and don't give up.
Yeah, that's a good description of a mentor, isn't it?
I think she was a great mentor.
Yes.
Books were my first mentor. Unfortunately, it wasn't a person, it was books, but I think there were many authors, though, so I guess there were a lot of people that I had as mentors.
Of your accomplishments, which are so many, what would you feel the most proud of as a legacy that you'd be leaving?
Believe it or not, as being a teacher, because whenever you teach young people, you never see the fruits of what you've done for many, many years. And I taught in elementary school, high school, community college, and universities. So I taught some of the same children some of the same people 3 times. I taught them as 5 and 6 year olds. I taught them as community college, and then as graduate students. So I really saw the progress. So for me, that was teaching. That was it.
And it's so rewarding, and you affected so many lives.
Yes, you do, and you begin to affect the children of their children of their children. So it continues. It doesn't stop with just the one person.
Yeah, which is so important.
It's very important to me.
Are there any personal comments you'd like to say for those young people of today and tomorrow?
Well, everything doesn't happen overnight. You have to work at things. And if you really believe in something and you don't want to give up, you got to keep going. You got to keep believing in it. At first you don't succeed, you got to try again. You don't keep changing things because you don't succeed the first time. If you really believe in yourself and you really believe that you want to do this, then you can't give up. You're going to have obstacles in life, but you can walk around obstacles, you can jump over them, you can do whatever, but you can't give up.
Well, you're a great model example
a lot
of that.
Perseverance is needed to get what you want.
There's some noise in the background, which you might be noticing, and it's all the crowd coming to gather for the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So we apologize for that, but we would love for you to say some last thoughts of what you'd like to convey to people on a personal level.
I think particularly young women, but not only for young women, but specifically, but just to believe in themselves, to have faith in what they do. And at first, as I said before, at first you don't succeed, try it again, and then maybe it isn't for you, and then try something else, and you'll get it. So I would say, don't give up. You just cannot give up.
It's a very great message.
Believe in yourself.
Thank you so much for being here, and congratulations
Thank
again.
you so much.
Wasn't that inspiring? I'm so proud today to take you to the Maryland Women's Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame 2013. I am Pat Cornish, Chair of the Maryland Commission for Women, formerly of Montgomery County, now relocated to Talbot County. The Commission for Women works with Maryland state government to advance solutions and to expand social, political, and economic equity. This year, our primary focus is healthcare reform implementation. It's my pleasure to recognize commissioners with us this evening. I ask you to stand when I call your name. Lee Bachu, Montgomery County. Lynn Futrell, St. Mary's County. Helen Holden, Baltimore City. Velvet Johnson, Prince George's County. Varsha Murther, Charles County. Ginger Miller, Prince George's County. Patricia Omana, Howard County. Betsy Ramirez, Prince George's County. Anita Riley, Carroll County. Debbie Risper, Baltimore County. Kara Tannenbaum, Montgomery County. Rosanna Voigt, Calvert County. Dr. Kathleen White, Baltimore County. Wanda Ashley Williams, Howard County. And tonight's event co-chairs, Diane Williams of Prince George's County and Elizabeth Kinney of Anne Arundel County. We would also like to recognize Lucinda Ware, Assistant to Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown, who is with us this evening. Lucinda, are you here? Not seeing her. And we also have, earlier today, Senator Riley stopped by. He had to come and go, but he's responsible for securing this room for us this evening. So we're eternally grateful to him. And he said to extend his congratulations to tonight's honorees on his behalf. We have other elected officials in the audience here, many of you, and so what I would like you to do, so that I don't miss anyone, is ask you to please stand and state your name and who you represent. I'd like to start with Congressman Andy Harris, who's from my district right here. So Andy, you want to extend his congratulations to
Delegate Ron George, right here in Athens. Delegate Jay Jacobs, Cecil, Kent, Queen Anne's, and Carolyn. Charles Otto, Somerset, Wycombe, Cook County.
Delegate Addie Acker, Dorchester, Talbot, Carolina, Wycombe.
Delegate Susan Krebs, Carroll County.
David Craig, Harper County Executive.
Good evening. I am excited to have all of you here this evening. Thank you for coming. At this time, I will invite Secretary Ted Dowling to the podium to give the welcome on behalf of the Department of Human Resources and present the Maryland Women's History Month proclamation. Secretary Ted Dowling.
Thank you, Diane, for that very nice introduction. I'm happy to be here today with so many remarkable Marylanders who have dedicated themselves to improving the lives of others. In addition to the honorees, I'd like to take a brief moment to recognize Secretary Gloria Lawler, fellow member of the Governor's Cabinet. colleague, and it's a privilege to serve with her. I'm also happy to see many members of the Women's Legislative Caucus here tonight. As you know, the General Assembly is tackling its fair share of controversial issues this year. Many long days and nights. By the way, there are 18 days left in the session, not that any of us are counting. I'd also like to thank Senators Barbara Mikulski and Ben Cardin for their continued support, and of the Maryland's Commission for Women that is housed in DHR, and also recognize Congressman Harris for his attendance tonight. We hold the Maryland Women's Hall of Fame induction ceremony each March as a way of celebrating Women's History Month. We do it to recognize the important role that women have played and the key contributions they have made in helping others in Maryland and across the nation. In fact, on Tuesday, one member of the commission, member Ginger Miller, last week, she was honored at the White House. The White House. As a champion for change. So I think that deserves a round of applause. And we can let her know women like Ginger and tonight's honorees are trailblazers, and their stories inspire us. This evening, it's my sincere and great pleasure to help welcome 6 new additions to this already incredible group of women. Each of the 6 honorees have demonstrated great courage, perseverance, and selflessness in their service and advocacy for others. As a newspaper writer and later as a state legislator, former Delegate Gene Cryer fought for pay equity and crossed party lines to do so. Former Congresswoman Helen Bentley, his name is synonymous with the Port of Baltimore and the maritime industry in Maryland. She was also one of the first women to run for governor of this great state. Dr. Charlene Dukes is president of the Maryland State Board of Education. She was the first woman president of Prince George's Community College and was recognized by Washingtonian Magazine as one of the 100 most powerful women in the region. Is a distinguished member of this, former member of the state legislature and ambassador to the UN Commission on the Status of Women. And as many of you know, she came very close to being the first governor of Maryland. When the first woman is elected governor here in Maryland, they will absolutely owe a great debt of gratitude to both Ambassador Sauerbrey and Congresswoman Bentley. Linda Shevitz is a national leader on issues of gender equity, sexual harassment, and women's history. She also played a critical role in the institution that many of you in this room may recognize, the Maryland Women's Heritage Center and Museum. Without her, I don't think we'd have one. And Beatrice Tignor devoted her life to improving educational opportunities for children, both as an educator and as a member of the Maryland Senate. As an assistant superintendent for Prince George's County, she created one of the first learning laboratories for developmental students. And in her spare time, I'm told she won an award from Harvard for implementing an electronic procurement system in Montgomery County. Like those who preceded them, the women that are being honored here tonight did what they did not out of a desire for recognition, but for a shared desire to strengthen the economic, political, and social standing of women in Maryland. Thank you to all the honorees for their dedication and accomplishment. All of us, whether we're women, men, boys, girls, are better off because of what you did. So I'd like to read a round of applause for tonight's honorees. In honor of this occasion, I am also going to present a proclamation from Governor Martin O'Malley to Pat Cornish, but rather than read the whole thing from start to finish, I'm going to read the one part that I think is particularly apropos for the honorees tonight. So you know how these things go. There's whereas, and they go through all these things. So whereas it is appropriate to celebrate Maryland women and girls for the distinguished record of historic accomplishments renowned throughout the United States and the world. I know all of us agree that not only the 6 honorees here tonight are perfect additions to the Maryland Women's Hall of Fame, but also would be perfect additions to the United States Women's Hall of Fame. And I don't know if there is one for a World Women's Hall of Fame, but I think they'd probably be good candidates for that. Your impact has reached far beyond the state of Maryland, and we thank you again for your contributions, and I congratulate you. I hope you enjoyed it very special.
We also have a letter from Donna Edwards, Congresswoman Edwards, I am pleased to extend my warmest welcome to everyone attending the Maryland Women's Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I appreciate this opportunity to honor those women who work to promote social, political, and economic equality of Maryland women. Today is a day for us to reflect, celebrate, and recognize the courageous efforts made each day by our honorees. I would like to commend these women for their commitment to women and girls issues and their rights, events, organizations, and legislation. As a representative from Maryland's 4th Congressional District, I am honored by your efforts and appreciate your work to further the interests of our community. Sincerely, Donna F. Edwards, Member of Congress. I understand that several other elected officials have come into the room after we conducted our introductions. Would you like to identify yourselves and tell us who you are and what district you represent?
Delegate Susan Lee, District 16 in Montgomery County.
Anyone else?
Delegate Bill Frank from Baltimore County.
Susan McComas from Harford County.
I'm Councilmember Ingrid Turner from Prince George's County.
Anyone else?
Good evening. Senator Joanne C. Benson, 24th Legislature. Only woman serving in the Senate from Prince George's County, serving with 7 married men.
I see another important person in the room who hasn't identified herself. Francie Glendenning, former First Lady of Maryland. What can we say, right? Okay, we're ready to move on with the program. Thank you.
I'm going to introduce another former teacher. There's something special about teachers. How many are teachers again? Have been teachers? All right. Who implemented legislative processes to meet and advance the social, economic, educational needs of our communities. Dr. Beatrice Tignor.
Before I say all the things that I had planned to say tonight, when your last name begins with T, you're standing between the people in this audience and the reception. So I will take that into consideration. Good evening, and thanks to each of you for taking the time to attend this well-planned event. And so many of you here tonight that I haven't seen in a long time, and it certainly has been a pleasure chatting with you. It is an occasion that I've looked forward to for several months, and tonight I am just extremely honored to be inducted into the Maryland Women's Hall of Fame. I am very pleased for this recognition. For every nominee that was made for this honor, they were as capable of being here tonight as I am. I would be remiss if I did not say that every challenge that I faced only strengthened me to make me the person I am today. Now, all the other things I am is in the program that you have, so you can read that. Therefore, I share with you that it was not my effort alone that brought me here tonight. So let me briefly take a minute to thank a few people in attendance, as well as those who could not make it, but sent wonderful messages. And to all the women on whose shoulders I stand. I would like to acknowledge, although deceased, a woman, a professor, an author, an educator who had a significant impact on my life, Dr. Marjorie H. Parker. And all of my sorority sisters who are Alpha Kappa Alpha know what I'm talking about. Then to my daughter for sharing the special time with me, and would you stand, Bishop? I know I'm embarrassing you. Again, thanks to my friends and colleagues for coming so that I could share this evening with them. You know who you are, but a special thanks to all of you who helped make this night a reality. Thanks for actually surprising me for
having a bus. I thank you very much. When I was notified that I was being accepted in the Maryland Women's Hall of Fame, I began to think about the journey that brought me here. Certainly it wasn't the skill that one uses on a resume to apply for a job, not the talents one uses to win contests, and not the abilities one shares with others to complete tasks, and nor the competition needed to win a sport, but a combination of individuals and teams of people with whom I've had the opportunity to work and play, laugh and cry. The women who opened doors for me to enter, set goals for me to follow, and provided me the wisdom to know that all battles do not have to be fought openly, but instead be wise enough to make footprints by leading, sharing, caring, and encouraging. So to those women who came before me, this recognition tonight is for you. And for the women who will come behind me, please take the time to learn more about each inductee and listen and learn from their stories. But most of all, make your dreams a reality. Set your own pace and believe in yourself. In that belief, you will learn to survive challenges. In your life, you will have blessings and you will have burdens. I certainly have had both. But I will tell you that the burdens will make the blessings feel so much better. On a closing note, please do not give up. And I think you've heard this all through the evening. Do not give up. Even if you are convinced that your work or your dreams will not come to fruition, remember, it is never, never over unless you want it to be. And I think tonight you see this example in many of us. We did not give up. For those who have touched my life in any way, I'm truly grateful for your support. And to the Maryland Commission of Women and to your staff, I thank you.
For Dr. Tignor to come forward, please, and get in the picture. I saw Senator Benson as well, and there are some county council people. And remember, Senator Benson is the only female from Prince George's serving in the Senate. And she reminds us daily.
I'd like to personally thank each of the honorees. I know that I am inspired by each of you and your words tonight. Now I'd like to call Senator Catherine Pugh, the President of the Women's Caucus, and Jill Moss Greenberg, the Executive Director of the Maryland Women's Heritage Center, for a presentation in which the names will not be forgotten.
First of all, let me just say good evening to everyone. Good evening. I hope that all of the senators and the delegates have been acknowledged. I'd love for all of our members of the Women's Caucus to at least come up front so that we can make sure that we've seen everyone. Let me just say this before making this quick presentation. If you don't know it, I'm sure most of you do, that this year we celebrated the 100th anniversary of the women's suffrage movement. And we did a fantastic job here. We actually had a joint session of both the House and the Senate where all 57 women of the Women's Caucus were able to participate. And it's important because it's really important that we remember how significant and important our roles are in this society and in this legislature. We happen to be 57 women strong, but yet we're still only less than 1/3 of the population of the elected officials that are down here. Women make a difference. Yes. Women make a difference. I happen to have followed my cousin, Senator Gloria Lala, into the Senate of Maryland, and I can tell you it's been a tremendous and a wonderful experience. And I always remember Senator Kelly always saying how important the Women's Commission is, how important the Women's Heritage Center is, and always reminds us of how hard women fought to make sure that we're funded, that the duties and so forth that take place as a result of this commission continue to do so. So again, for all of you who have been inducted, and I feel a kinship to all of you, congratulations, and we are so proud of all of you. And so I am presenting tonight to our Executive Director, Jill Greenberg, the plaque that will be a part of history to acknowledge your induction into the Hall of Fame. Again, congratulations. There's so many of us who are still in meetings, still voting, and I ran down here as well. I see Senator Jones made it. But let me just say, we cannot be more proud of the women who were inducted this evening. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Is Francie Glendenning still in here? She was here, okay. The president of the Maryland Women's Heritage Center is Frances Hughes Glendenning, and she was here, so I did want to acknowledge her, have her come up. This piece of lovely names was all that the Women's Hall of Fame existed as until the Women's Heritage Center opened. Each year, the Maryland Law Library was kind enough to have put the names of the group for that year onto a wooden plaqueboard and add the names for each year. And that was what it consisted of, the Hall of Fame. Well, now that with so much support from so many of you and your organizations and individuals, the Maryland Department of Planning and the Maryland State Department of Education, for all of their support to help that move forward. And we have to reemphasize too that the Hall of Fame that opened in 1985 was a joint effort of the Maryland Commission for Women and the women legislators of Maryland, a joint collaboration. And that's really important because sometimes the collaboration isn't always clear, and the commission does do a huge amount of work, which we know wonderfully.
Thank you for joining us and learning about Beatrice Tignor. Remember our motto, adding her story to history to make our story. We want to hear from you. How did you like these stories? Do you have some feedback? Tell us about some women that you'd like to see featured. Share the link with your friends and tell them about our programs. Let's spread the word.